Some of our MPs voted against Bill 7. Without Bill 7 passing, we would have never had a new constituency here in Solwezi, in Kalumbila, in Mwinilunga, right? In Zambezi. This province now has a lot more MPs because the UPND MPs followed the instruction to vote for Bill 7. But we have 4 MPs that refuse to vote for Bill 7. And I will name them. Gary Nkombo, Muchima, Samakai, and Mubanga. We don't want MPs like that because without Bill 7, there will be no women coming into parliament this coming year. We want loyal councillors, those who work with the president. We want loyal mayors, those who work with the president. We want loyal MPs who work with the president.
Good afternoon and welcome to Conversations at 1. My name is Seidlitz Nkhonjera. I'll be with you this afternoon. Was the president wrong to name and shame MPs over Bill 7? Just over the weekend, President Hakainde Hichilema, whilst in Northwestern Province, had to say the video, or the words that are in the video were from, playing, and he named 4 members of parliament, for having not voted for Bill 7. Now, several questions are being raised after these. He mentioned Gary Nkombo, Elijah Muchima, Newton Samakai, and Elias Mubanga, accusing them of defying party, directives by failing to vote for Bill 7. The president argued that without relying on the opposition, votes, this crucial piece of legislation, which expanded parliamentary seats and opened doors for women, youths, and persons with disabilities, would have collapsed. He demanded absolute loyalty from the party members. But here's where the plot thickens. The official parliamentary announcement by the Speaker stated that all 135 MPs present voted in the affirmative. At least that was at third reading. This massive contradiction has prompted civil society, including, organizations such as ActionAid Zambia, to ask fundamental questions. Who is telling the truth? State House maintains, we did see communication from State House, Mr. Hamasaka, who confirmed and said these things, where he says that the president didn't lie. Mr. Hamasaka has hinted that the president made these decisions, or rather made these issues public because the public was questioning. But this has still left questions demanding the official voting records. Others are saying Parliament must publish the official voting records. Now, was the president justified in demanding public accountability from his lawmakers, or did he overstep by publicly shaming his own party stalwarts based on conflicting voting data? There's so much that has been said over this issue. Other people have made serious demands, and others are questioning whether there was democracy at play with regards choosing whether to vote for Bill 7 or not. Helping me to get through this conversation this afternoon is our resident analyst here at Crown Television, Mabvuto. Mabvuto, good afternoon and welcome to Conversations at 1.
It's always a pleasure to be back, Sid. Thank you very much and good afternoon.
Let's start with the act itself. The president went to Solwezi and explicitly named these 4 heavyweights, for political strategy standpoint. If you look at it from there, why did the president do this now, if it is politics? But also, what message is the president sending to the UPND rank and file?
Firstly, and you have to give it to the president that he's been very quiet about this subject, but obviously it has been biting. I think I'll look at it from different facets. The first one, I think both in government and in the party, the president is the chairman, sits at the nerve center in terms of operations of the party. And I will not be faulted to think that for that particular bill to get to Parliament said, there were a lot of discussion back and forth in terms of wanting party members to support that. So clearly, what the president is trying to assert when he communicates such a message is party discipline, far and beyond collective responsibility. So if you and me said play in the same team, and the captain of the team or the coach of the team has decided in terms of which route to take, you should not be seen to be clever by deciding to take another route. And I know you asked about the timing of that delivery. The timing is at this stage. One, the president is trying to assert party discipline, party loyalty, that now we are going into the next parliamentary cycle. And in case we retain power, if at the National Management Committee level, which is the supreme organ of the party, we've agreed that this is the route we're going to take, people should not be seen to be like hostile towards the very aspirations of the party in terms of wanting to attend to the needs of the people. Secondly, location. We're talking about Northwestern Province. Why was it important? I think of the formation. You can tell that in terms of representation, Northwestern had two names mentioned, not so. Then Southern had one. Then I think Muchinga equally had one. So literally, the larger component of those, that himself in his own way says wanted to sabotage that particular program, were literally coming from Northwestern. And obviously the UPND had built and has built its aspiration in case it returns to power on decentralization. And part of that, in terms of ensuring that resources are closer and are available to the people, was that delimitation process. And the president said, look, today some of you are happy, it's because of this process. But among you, there were also those that were attempting to be able to discredit and jeopardize the aspiration that we had set based on what we are planning. But obviously, there's an elephant in the room. Now there's this friction, the MPs, the presidency, who is saying what. For me, I think what is critical is that others have, at this stage, have opted not even to comment. Because again, you can't be arguing with your boss in the public back and forth. And we need to be able to give it. But I think overall, to put all this debate to bed, it will be able to help us in terms of Parliament through the Speaker coming out and releasing that list, so that he said we deduce for ourselves who voted for what, who didn't vote for what, because otherwise this debate will continue for now.
Yes. Mabvuto, if you look at this conversation, a number of issues that have come out, issues to do with, the numbers in Parliament. Of course, we do know that Parliament, when passing bills, has got several stages. But then the final vote showed that no one abstained from taking part, and that there were no no's in this particular vote. There were 135 votes, all in favor of Bill number 7. State House says that the president couldn't have lied, and that people shouldn't just focus on the televised proceedings, How do we reconcile, these two narratives? I know they've talked about the committees and the other conversations that were happening within the committees over the same bill. But what the Zambian people saw was a united parliament that massively voted for bill number 7.
I think we should be able to understand the lifeblood of what constitutes parliament and even a bill itself. Because firstly, the party will sit to be able to formulate, and the members of the party will look at this topic that you've brought before the table. In this case, it was Bill 7. You'll be able to say, okay, what are the demands of the Zambian people? Because I remember it had started with the non-contentious issues. Remember where the debate started from?
Yes.
So then the party sat and said, what are these issues we are going to look at? And they formulated that in what was dubbed as Bill 7, not so. As a party. That is at party level. And luckily, at party level, President Ishilema is also president. At party level, they've agreed. This is the route we're going to take. From there, it will go to cabinet. When it will go to cabinet, obviously it will be presented and say, this is the view of the party. So now, since this is the view of the party, we have to sponsor this bill before parliament. Do we agree? Yes. So you realize that there was agreement from party level now to cabinet. From cabinet, they take it to parliament. It's on the agenda. Oh, there is this motion. The motion is debated. After people debate, then it starts going through the parliamentary stages. There is the first reading. Oh, this is what we believe. What? Okay. Agree. And I think I remember at one point, there was a lot of debate. This same bill was withdrawn. I remember by the Minister of Justice. They withdrew based on what members of parliament within the house had submitted. It went back to cabinet. Cabinet sat, refined that, and obviously again they agreed to say, now it's refined, let's see, take it back. And when it was taken back now, said, it went through first reading, second reading, and I think as a public, we could only adduce when they voted at the end, the one that was televised. I think that was 135. Everybody was available. But I'm made to think that first reading, second reading, or third reading itself, these members of parliament did not vote for it. So they were sure that since obviously in the first instance when it came, it didn't succeed. Obviously, even at this stage, it will not be able to succeed. But why the president, I feel he takes it as a betrayal. People during the party proceedings, they should have engaged him. And if you look at this is 4 also, at cabinet level, they should have said, Mr. President, I think we don't agree with this agenda. So they waited where maybe before the public eye. But obviously, after realizing that it had passed third reading, then everybody else now wants to say, no, we voted for it. So we need to go back and be able to appreciate and understand the stages of parliament. To say, it came from the party, went to cabinet, first reading, second reading, third reading, until it was passed in parliament. Then the president has ascended to it. So everyone at 135 obviously voted for it. And this includes the 4, as long as they were present in parliament. So they might have attempted to sabotage this process based on the submission of the president at first, second, or third reading.
Yes. What I get.
So even if you want to do the publication of names, today if you said, publish the 135, you find everybody voted. You see? But if you were to go back now, start first reading, second reading, and check the names of the people that were passing for it, you'll find that these 4 names are missing somewhere. So we should not just only demand for the final televised list of people that voted for Bill 7. Yes.
I get your clarity there, but there's a question though that the general public has raised. Where does democracy start and where does it end? Did the members of parliament at party level have a democratic right to say no, or were they afraid?
But
they would
as much as I appreciate that he said you want to cover it in separation of power. Or legislative powers of members of parliament, because it is their responsibility to be able to make these laws. But one thing you can't take away is that these, as members of the party, and that's why I indicated earlier that the president who has spoken in that sense is being prospective. Why? Because he's telling these that are vying under the party ticket, whatever comes, he said, you belong to a party. Therefore, you can't go beyond it. So even if you bring in the component of
democracy,
of either democracy or legislative powers, which is to make laws by members of parliament, it's a betrayal. Because if you look at, for instance, Honorable Nkhonjera, within the file and rank of UPND, occupied a very strategic position. He was chairman of elections. So if he didn't agree with the proposals that had been made, he still had a window to be able to speak to the president in the background. We saw it. This is not the first time. I think there was the Bill 10. You remember Bill 10? When the UPND then in opposition defeated that bill. We also those members of parliament at community house and dancing. You know why they were dancing? Because it was collective responsibility. And those who didn't agree with the party, we understood what the repercussions were. So previously, the UPND itself already has a well spelled out and defined model of dealing with those that don't toe along the party lines. And don't forget, these 4 members of parliament were sponsored by a political party called UPND. Therefore, if they agree at party level, they agree at cabinet level, and they were privileged. You can't take it away from them. Therefore, they should have gone back to the president and engaged him. So sometimes you can fight within the party structure without making noise before the public eye. So for me, I think even the arguments they are giving, you begin to wonder, is it that maybe some of these members of parliament, or whether from the ruling or the opposition, don't understand their own legislative powers? Because if I stayed away at the first reading, then I should be able to say, oh, I did not... passing of a bill into law, it's not one day event. And we saw it with this Bill 7, where it was even withdrawn. We had statements. I think the Minister of Justice had even indicated that we heard the people's concerns. We are going back. So when they went back, what was the role of these 4? What were their submission before the political party? Clearly, what they did for me, they did not just embarrass their own political party, but they also embarrassed themselves, because there was no collective responsibility in terms of what they did.
I've had conversations with a couple of people from the UPND. One of them was Mark Simue, whom I questioned, but also I've listened to other interviews that members of the UPND, the leaders in the NMC, have given. And one of the persons involved in this issue is Gary Nkhonjera, who said a commission of inquiry was constituted after a report was given to the president that 9 persons could have jeopardized the Bill 7 process before Parliament, and that after that commission of inquiry within the UPND was held, 4 members of Parliament, including himself, Gary Nkhonjera, and I'm sure now the 3 that the president mentioned, were found wanting, and the party had to make take disciplinary action. I want us to look at it from the angle of there being admission that there was a commission of inquiry instituted, and also that them being found guilty first by that commission of inquiry before the president and the National Management Committee could make or take an action against those people to discipline them. Does that show any form of democracy, that these people were given chance to clear themselves, or do we still then say that there's still no democracy within the
No, democracy for me said, even in a democratic society, there are rules, obligations and responsibilities. So if 9 members were found wanting and they appeared before an inquiry, firstly, what was their submissions? But he said, you being my brother, if I heard that you did something that we had not even, it's the way I would treat him is different with the way I would treat you. I'll ask myself, out of the many things you've done for me, you've stood with me, but why this one? Sometimes it's just difficult to forget and forgive based on the relationship you've built over time. And if these people, for instance, I know even now I heard him on another platform complaining and saying, but why me? Why me? Mr. Ngombo, for instance, is he just not an ordinary member of the party? He was a very senior member during the last elections. He literally oversaw all the adoptions and even took part in that election. And beyond that, he protected the vote for UPND. You remember at Mulungushi, that drama. So if all those things said happened, and this was a key man, because even I think if you further hear the president, what he says, he actually thanks members of the opposition for making it a reality. So he's sitting, but why did my own people do this? Even him obviously is failing to get the possible answers. So one thing I would say is, obviously it's what they submitted. If they were very arrogant, they didn't show remorse, and we saw the arrogance. Immediately that was passed, I think we saw 1 or 2 appearing on the media platforms, justifying that they had backed it, that there was evidence, but also, like I've stated, it's understanding the parliamentary procedure. You might not have jeopardized that process at the final level, but even within the committees, you'd have been the one telling people, and you know the state being the state, those undertones and conversations will be picked, and others maybe even among the 9 went back to the president and said, but it was the chairman of elections telling us that we should not be able to proceed with this. Then when you call him, he arrogantly answers you. It betrays you as a leader. And I get his feeling. And you could tell that the president was really at pain to even mention some of those names. Yes.
Honorable Garen Kombo said if video evidence were to be produced, it would indicate that he voted yes.
But we are not like what should be properly explained. It's not about the 135 that voted at the end. Said this is a process. It didn't take off one day and finished. No, there were a lot of consultations, but there could have been at some stage where the 4 that are being mentioned now were the ones that were gagging, because obviously the president, when that was presented, he looked at his party numbers. Your party numbers, if you are going for such, is the security number 1. So now imagine you come back and obviously he was thinking, so what about if I had not engaged the opposition? What would have happened? And said in this country, when you lose a bill in parliament, especially like Bill 7, you can't win a nation of vote. We saw it with Bill 10. The first thing the PF failed to secure was the
Bill 7.
Bill 7.
Bill 10.
Yes, Bill 10. They failed to secure that. Next, it buried themselves. And what the president was counting that he's got these numbers, even now as we would have been speaking, that would have been one of the campaign messages within the opposition to say, we rejected what the... Look at the mistrust, for instance, Bill 7 had created. Where people were telling us, no, the president want to overstay, the president this and this. But in the end, we even saw members of the opposition commending the president for the job well done. Areas like Karurushi, you are aware now that there's Chambeshi, our 2 sisters would always fight for one constituency. Today, There are two constituencies. A number of constituencies have been created in the east, across the country, and the people were happy, I think, in the aftermath of Bill 7. So for me, I think those that didn't vote for that bill, considering that there were still members of the UPND, did not exercise caution and respect for the guidelines of the party in terms of demonstrating their loyalty and allegiance to UPND.
Gary Nkombo, Elijah Mchima, Elias Mubanga, Newton Samakari.
And I feel very disappointed with the Honorable Mubanga, for instance, because for him, he was nominated by the president. So
and given a new ministry.
Yes, and there was some level of confidence. So now said, I give you a job for 5 years. Then when we say, can we go for this? You don't go with me. What do you expect me to do?
But I'm trying to ask Mabvuto, these are 4 very senior members
Yes,
of the UPND.
yes.
And was it right for the president to bring this debate that was supposed to be an internal party matter at an airport to discuss it publicly? Could it not have been addressed in a better way? Why bring this issue, out in the public?
People should be told the truth. One, like I've told you, if you look at the larger percentage of those that allegedly wanted to sabotage this process, were from Northwestern. So, and over the years, there's been a complaint in terms of how vast and big certain constituencies are in Northwestern Province. So now the president with his team, including those, sits down and says, can we deal with this? Then they backtrack on him, and by not wanting to be able to support his idea or agenda in terms of increasing constituencies. So what does the man do? He has to explain. And for me, the message he's sending to the party is that there are no sacred cows in this equation. All of you, as long as you belong to the party, you should be able to respond to the party. And he was addressing the party members. Yes.
Let's have a look at what one of the governance activists has had to say, Laura Miti. I was reading what she commented on this matter, like she does, many times on many other issues. Let's see what she has said concerning the president's, decision to name and shame, the members of parliament. Right. So there it goes. So she goes on to say, the president publicly castigating those who refuse to vote Bill 7 is stunning. Surely, that goes against the principle of separation of powers. MPs are being bullied for how they voted in the House. But hey, it's good to know that there are still a few politicians who can go with their own conscience despite massive pressure. Whatever the president says, Bill 7 was not in public interest. It was written and passed for the UPND. The whole process was highly deceptive. Even the TCC was deceived because some clauses in the bill that was voted on were not in Mushabati's recommendations. They also were not proposed by anyone. They mushroomed on the floor of the House on the last day. Seeing as the president chooses to incessantly talk about Bill 7, we can conclude that he and an inner circle sat down and doctored that report, produced the bill with provisions that came from the center of power into the People's Constitution. Now, top of those was cunningly linking MP proportional representation seats to the presidential rather than the parliamentary election, as had been recommended by Mshabati. All that said, weren't we told that the bill passed unanimously? Everyone in the House voted for it. Ninchi, these 4 vanalova ku parliament on the day. All right, so that is what Laura Miti questions, and these are pretty much the similar questions that we are asking Mabvuto when we say why name these members of parliament, former members of parliament, in public. But what is your general comment of Laura's comments?
Look, said. I think what we're failing to understand, and I totally agree with her, Bill 7 was a product and a baby of the UPND. And he said, when we go to vote, we vote for a party to be able to give us and make laws for us. You see, when the UPND came into office, one of the landmark decisions they made was increasing CDF. So, did we argue with them? They are in charge. So, I totally agree with her that was the baby and creation of the UPND in terms of how they intend to govern this country. And in the last 4 years, they've anchored their aspirations on decentralization. But they realized, said also that this decentralization, your vast constituencies said, even if you gave them 40 million, there is no value. It is just going into the water. So what do we do? They want to sit as a party first. The National Management Committee. No, this country, certain constituencies are too, and we've agreed. And you know, I think there's a provision in our constitution for delimitation every after 10 years. And this luckily arrived when the UPND are in power. You want them not to undertake it? They did undertake it. So if they are undertaking it, why not support that particular? For me, I think there was betrayal. And whether you want individuals to be heroes for standing against their political parties, then said there will be chaos in political parties. Political parties like associations are governed by rules and responsibility. And when you sit in a meeting and say, this is the route we are going, if we ever said it twice, why would you want to take 29 people, you alone, and say, no, this bus should be heading south. That's where I want to go and watch football. Is that normal? No, I think even rules of engagement don't open. Even now, said, we've seen why did people want to contest on the UPND? Because obviously they were committing their allegiance. And even when they are getting those adoptions, interview. Obviously, these are questions that they were being asked. And when the president is saying that, he's trying to assert that Dolomuka we name as MP or a councillor or a ward official. The party is bigger than you. So, but I want to say, I said, but after serving us for 20 years or 5 years, I want to have to nominate. When the president, for instance, nominated Honorable Mumang, did he need your approval? No, he thought this man is a member of the party and he can work well in this ministry. No, by Mama Kwacha, at our United Embassy support president, Shirimu. What am I telling you? Said. Talk about democracy, political parties, because political parties like associations are governed by rules. And if you don't follow the rules, what do they do to you? They will flash out. They will flash you out. That's all. Yes.
All right. Let me now bring in some comments that are being made by various of our viewers this afternoon. And we'll start with the inbox before we can get to the phone line, because we will accommodate more views that way. And then we'll open the phone lines in a short while. It was not necessary, as it will not put food on people's tables. What is needed is how to lower the cost of living. Peter from Lusaka answering the question, was HH wrong to name and shame MPs over Bill 7? All right, let's have a look at another message this afternoon. Right, this one says, good afternoon, Sir Chomba, George, and your colleague. May I have your cell number to allow me to contact you? All right, over delayed refund from Infrapack Solutions resulting from the over. All right, our news team will contact you, and hopefully we can have that story run. Good afternoon, team. Once I'm voted into office as president, I will give back Black Mountain, Senseli, Kinkombe to Jarabos, and bring back cadreism. Abolish free education, reduce CDF to 1.6 million. I will also grab chiefs' palaces and allocate them to councillors. RKC in Serenje. Oh, interesting comment there, though it is not answering the question we're asking, KC. All right, let's have a look at another message. The president is right. You can't work with the people who are against you. SM from Lusaka. Thank you, SM, for your contribution. Let's have a look at another message. Good afternoon. What about ministers who were fired? What did they do? Chris from Livingston. All right, Chris. So, amongst those ministers that were fired is Elijah
3 of
Muchima,
them were ministers.
Gary Nkombo, and there's Elias Mubanga, who are amongst the 4
Were
that
ministers.
did not vote for Bill 7. We don't know whether that is why they were fired, but they were fired way after way before. Like, for example, Gary Nkombo was fired before Bill 7 issue. Except for Muchima, the former Minister of Health, and Elias Mubanga, the former Minister of Small and Medium Development, who were fired after Bill 7. Good afternoon, panel. I trust you are okay. I don't think that was right for me, the president, to publicly disclose about the ministers who voted against Bill 7, because people in Parliament will be scared to vote against any bill because they'll be afraid to be sacked from their posts. It's not just right. I'm a UPND fan, but this wasn't right. Mr. Wada from Chongwe. All right, thank you, Mr. Wada from Chongwe, for that contribution. Good afternoon, Crown TV. The president was very right to name them because this is the same like Judas Iscariot in the Bible who betrayed Jesus. We need real MPs, not those Judas. Hex Victor Monzwe from Kafue Town. All right, thank you very much for that contribution. All right, this one reads, the approach was wrong because even when we have been trying to comment over nomination wrangles, the UPND have been saying they are internal wrangles or divisions and they should be dealt with internally. But why exposing this one in front of cameras? Bicton from Lundazi. All right, thank you, Bicton, for that message. Good afternoon, Crown TV. I'm enjoying the program. Is it possible for independent candidates to share one symbol in one constituency? For example, MP and councillor. HH Nibos, he has done a lot. Kina Prince Sitwala, JM from Mufumbwe, Ndongwe constituency. I think the answer to that question is yes, because you are contesting for different positions.
Huh?
Good afternoon, Mabvuto and Said. The president urging party members to campaign vigorously is a good move. There's need to completely pack the opposition where they belong after August election, and I only hope some of them will be arrested soon. Their actions are evident. There's no way you can go to campaigning using the shadow of the dead body for over 1 year in the pretext of hate will. They have been proved to be a danger to human life who should not be entertained in society. Samuel from Lusaka. Again, Samuel has not commented on our topic.
Yeah.
All right, this one says, there is no harm in naming the 4 former MPs, but shaming them was not necessary. I can foresee some who have stood as aspiring this year carrying the day when some who defected from opposition and have stood on the ruling party ticket failing to make it. SG from Mafinga. All right, thank you very much, SG from Mafinga, for that contribution. There's so many messages in our inbox. Maybe we can read a few more before we open the phone line. Good afternoon, Mabvuto and Seidlitz. Good afternoon. The president did well to name and shame those MPs who betrayed the trust of the people and that of the president. Betrayers should not be trusted. Mazabuka. All right, thank you very much for that contribution. Good afternoon, Conversations at One Crew. The president was right in naming the four, especially Mr. Gary Nkombo. People were speculating as to why he was dropped. He has even other issues of shaking the UPND, but will end up shaking himself in the House. There are rules. If one goes against the rules, he should be disciplined. DC from Kitwe. Thank you, DC, for that message. Was HH wrong? Difficult to tell depending on which side one is. However, it was betrayal to go against party position for those who were in cabinet. Best was for UPND members to abstain. Instead, they did a stab in the back. Parties do expel such individuals, including Trump of USA. He wants those aligned to party vision. MK Chitambo Kawe. Thank you very much, MK Chitambo of Kawe. Good afternoon. This is Kelvin Kanonto, Green Jr. within Lusaka. HH was not wrong, but to mention names, but being loyal to the party matters the most. These MPs were ministers, not ordinary MPs. All right, I think that's all we'll accommodate for SMSs. Good afternoon, Crown TV. HH was 100% correct to name the MPs who did not vote for Bill 7. MH from McKinney. All right, let me bring in a couple of phone calls before we wind up. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, thank you. And how are you?
Very fine, thank you. How are you, Shikulu?
Me, I'm very fine.
All right, please go ahead, sir.
So how are you, my friend?
I'm okay, washukuru mwaloshen.
I'll be there, Mkwai.
Nati tulifebwira mwalosheni.
Thank you, Mkwai.
Yeah, mkwai.
That chief comes almost like 50 kilometers from my chiefdom.
Oh, okay.
Condolences.
Thank you. Mabvuto, the question, was HH wrong to name and shame over Bill 7? My honest answer is, Ngande dealing and if not Fontini, he was wrong. But when I'm dealing with people, to be honest, the four went against collective agreement. When you go against collective agreement, it's very, very okay to be named and shamed. Because in Bemba, what those four did, we call it Tovapolala. Do you know what it means, Tovapolala? Hello?
No, please educate us.
Those people, yes. As for Gary, he has destroyed his career. Because nobody with the real senses like me will trust him again. He's a very dishonest person. And him being a Tonga, personally, I respect Tongas. They're very good people. Look at Mainza Chona. Mainza Chona was supposed to be the first president of Zambia, but he gave it to Keke. Look at VJ. In 1973, VJ was going to be president of Zambia, but because he did not want to destroy what they had been building together with Keke, he said no. Now, Bankombo president, and he's destroying Umnanko. If you listen to the video, I critically listened to that video where people in the crowd were praising Mundovile. And that it means this man is working with the Mundovile people, which is very wrong. And then it's just like, I'm sorry, I think I've gone beyond my time, haven't I?
Yes, you have.
May you allow me to give one last point? It's like, look at the rally in Kitwe. It is very shameful. Some people are saying, at Vapele, ama main bad kumajerabo. I'm say I'm a Fontaine, that is correct. But in the eyes of right-thinking people like me, it's very, very wrong. Because then the government will lose revenue. And look at how many people are dying by involving themselves in illegal mining. And it's very shameful for people who have a copper belt. Can you go against that person? And look at the way I think myself. It's because of school. That's why I think the way I think. And whoever gives me school is better than the one who has given me money. Let me thank you. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you very much, Kulu, for that contribution. Hello. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Thank you. What is your name and where are you calling us from, sir?
Yes, sir, I'm calling you from Mukulu.
Please go ahead, sir.
Yes, the president was actually very right by naming them. Because some of us, in fact, not just me, but a lot of people in Zambia were just shouting anyhow, not knowing what the Nkhombo group have done or what is happening. But actually, we have gotten something. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much for that contribution. All right. You are watching Conversations One on Crown TV. Please do call in. Let us know what is on your mind. Hello. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Crown.
Yes, this is Crown TV. Please tell us your name and where you are calling from.
I'm calling from Lusaka. My name is Teddy Chama.
Please go ahead, Mr. Chama, and give us your contribution.
Yeah, I just want to make a contribution to the topic at hand.
All right.
Yeah, my contribution is that there was nothing wrong. In any case, I'm sure Mabvuto knows that there's a document from Parliament that is called a division list. It is a public document. It's not a secret.
Yeah.
If you go like to UK Parliament, what they voted yesterday, you can download it. But for us, I don't know because of capacity, but it's a public on request. Parliament should provide that to anyone who needs it. So there was nothing to say, because I've heard people going in a direction like the president interfered. He was forcing. And forcing again, we've got whips, party whips in Parliament. The prime role of party whips is to mobilize their members of the party to vote in a particular manner. Apart from discipline, but to voting, if there's an important, like voting on a constitutional bill, party whips go flat out to ensure that our party position is a yes. So there's nothing, again, it's in a parliamentary democracy, it's allowed. But for me, what is worrying is the president to exhibit as if he has taken it personal. The UPND achieved what they wanted as a party, even without those four votes. And he punished them. Some of them were cabinet ministers. He fired them. So why keep it to heart? It's like double jeopardy now. You can't do anything because you did that in Shakalabeko, even if you are in Shakalabeko. So the president is portraying as if ni umuntu sunge chintu kumutima nangu akuma ona fe pali ayibukisa kira chine futi alepoya uchiku akukalifia na kabiri. The president should forgive and forget. And some of them, like Mr. Samaka, he said he wanted to be on the presidential campaign. Now, like that, you say, but I'm being punished again. I'm being rebuked. That's not the way you do things on a personal basis. You create relationships. After you have moved on, the president should move on and accept those people like Mr. Muchima. He said, no, I can't comment. He was punished. He was the minister fired. Mubanga fired. And we know now, we can have an idea why they were fired. You see what I mean?
Do you think,
so the president,
Mr. Chama, do you think it was, necessary, because there was so many questions the public was raising concerning the same four, why they were, not adopted. Some of it are even very popular in their constituencies, and also why they were fired. The president didn't give, and usually doesn't give that reason, but maybe because this conversation was so much in public domain, was it justified for the president to touch on Bill 7 as the reason?
I haven't gotten your because I'm from the point of my view is that because why people are saying it wasn't necessary. I don't know how you look at it, because maybe it is not, it shouldn't be known how an MP votes. That's the way I'm looking at it. That's why maybe people are against him going public. But if there is others, I haven't gotten your question to be specific.
My question is on the president, because you're saying the president didn't need to take it so personally and announce it at an event like the one he had. But then my question was, do you think it was necessary for the president to mention, especially that he owes the public some sense of reason for certain decisions that he made, especially that some of the MPs that he dropped were very popular in their constituencies, but he went ahead and did not pick him. And this created division within the party to say, why has the party not picked the people that we want? And maybe could that be the reason why the president was commenting on Bill 7 as the reason to why those MPs, even those that were popular, were not picked or adopted?
Yeah, from your angle, if you look at it from the angle you have brought in, it was not necessary for the president. No. Because the point of the UPND when the bill went to parliament is to have it pass. Did the bill pass? It passed. Did those four vote for it? No, they didn't. So now, when the president punishes, like from ministerial position, we are told that he doesn't need to give reasons. Now, from after that public announcement, we are making conclusion that Muchima, Nkombo, and Mubanga were fired because of not voting for Bill 10. We are making that connection now. Now, and again, we go ahead, why they were not adopted, again, it's a punishment. That's what I'm saying, double jeopardy. Even at law, when you can't be punished for one offense 3 times.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? That's why from that angle, it was not necessary. It is just causing confusion in an already destabilized party.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your contribution.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. Hello. Good afternoon.
At least, thank you, my friend. How are you?
We're very fine, thank you.
At least, why are you breathing like that?
I'm good. My brother, those who have been in committees like myself at church level, at one time I told my friends, before we go to the people, let us agree to disagree. So that once we go to the public, we will go with one voice. That's what normally happens in organized leaderships.
Right.
Now, if you agree or you disagree there, then you want to take that disagreement even to the public. Then how will people look at you? I think this is actually the reason why Muchima, Mubanga, I think Nkombo was fired a long time ago, before even the voting of Bill 7. If my memory serves me well. I think the issue of Nkombo shouldn't only be linked to not voting for Bill 7. It's like those rumors were there even before. Prior to 2021, there were calls from PF guys that Mr. Nkombo needed to replace President Haka in the HLM. And even recently was linked to Tonse, which he rubbished himself. Now, for not voting for Bill 7, that was betrayal to the people. That thing went beyond the party. The Bill 7 went beyond the party. It even came to the people. And the people approved and made the recommendations. In some of the interests of the party was dropped because of people submitted. Now, even you even go and vote against the people. Now, the same people you want to vote for you to continue representing them. I think this arrogance of some people thinking once they're in parliament, then they know it should come to an end. He should not have voted against the people who supported Bill 7 through those provincial forums where we participated. The party wanted to do away with by-election, but as we said, and there are many changes that were done to that bill. So how did he have to vote for it, vote against it? That is betraying people. Same women, he didn't want to be part of the decision making. Same youth, same persons with disability. Today, they would want them to support him.
All right.
Is it normal to do that? For Muchima, he said, his machine malfunctioning. But these people, even especially Mr. Nkombo, was even proud not to have voted for it. Why is he seeking now the same people he voted against to support him, to support his re-election? So the president was okay to drop them or to name and shame them. But they should learn. But I'm not saying he should hate them. No, they are brothers. One time again, he will need them. Let them come back and apologize to the public what they did. I thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Nkhumba, for your contribution. And thank you to everybody else that has managed to call in and give us their contributions, as well as those that have managed to text. There are so many messages, hundreds of messages. We cannot manage to read all of them, but we will follow through them even after this show. Mabvuto, your concluding remarks as we wind up.
Simple. Party loyalty to avoid what we are seeing. When you've agreed in the background, don't appear to the public as a hero. Always believe in party regulations or associations, and everything else will be okay for you.
Thank you very much, Mabvuto. To you, our viewers, we were asking the question, was the president right to demand public accountability from his lawmakers by naming and shaming some of those that did not vote in line with party, position with regards Bill 7? Your answers are so many and they're mixed, and I think you have formed opinion as to whether or not the president was right to say what he said at that airport in Northwestern Province. My name is Seidlitz Nkhonjera. On behalf of the entire team here at Crown Television, pleasant viewing, and to you as well that has been following us online. We're grateful to you, and please keep the conversation going. Good afternoon.